Hey guys, it's Miss Britton. This is my open house video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and I'm going to tell you the expectations I have for your child in my classroom and the schedule and the way I'm going to be teaching throughout the school year. So first, a little bit about myself. I graduated from University of Arkansas at Little Rock back in December. I accepted my first position job in March. Yes, March, 2 days before the pandemic. I started in the middle of the school year in a kindergarten class. And then the pandemic happened and I had to take over the class, and I didn't know my students' names. I didn't know what I was doing or how to work any of the online platforms, and it was extremely stressful and very scary. But it gave me lots of practice to get me well prepared for August. And so I'm thankful that I got that opportunity back in March. So technically, this job is my first job. I'm still technically a first year teacher. So on top of a pandemic, I'm also a first year teacher, and wow, I never thought that when I became a teacher that the first year of me teaching, I'd be teaching half virtual students and half on-site students where we're wearing masks during a pandemic. I mean, it blows my mind every day. But we're getting through it, and I practiced during the summer to get us ready for the school year, and practicing, well, should I record lessons or should I do live? And live ended up coming out to be the best, and I think it's going to be the best for your students also. I also am recently engaged. I got engaged back in December. It was a big month for me, and our wedding is next June of 2021, and I'm hoping that things calm down a little bit. I also love animals. I have 1 cat and 2 dogs. My dogs are 6 years old. They're about to turn 7, and my cat is about 2 years old. They're all rescues, and so I have a soft spot for when I see animals in need. I want to take them in, and my fiance is like, no more animals. So I'm definitely an animal lover. And I also like to travel or be outside. I can't travel right now, so I'm spending as much time as I can outside. Favorite time is when the sun is shining and I'm sitting out on the porch and I'm just enjoying myself with friends and family around me. So that's a little bit about me. Next, I'm going to talk about the expectations that I have for your child in my classroom. So we've gone over a few of the expectations that I have for your child briefly during videos, but this one's going to try to go into a little bit more detail. I definitely expect your child to be on the Zoom on time every single day. My job as a 5th grade teacher is not only to teach them content, but it's to make sure that I get them well prepared for middle school. And in middle school, they must be on time to each class that they switch to. So basically, we have 3 different times we have to get on Zoom during the day, and I definitely need the students to be on time. For an example, today I had students who were late, and by the time they got on the Zoom, I had already taught the lesson, and then I would send them on their way for their independent work. That's how it's going to be, and if they're missing those first 15-20 minutes, they're missing the instruction of the content, and when I send them off to go do their work, they don't know how to do it. I've spent several times when I should be checking on students' work online or walking around in the class on Zooms getting other students caught up. So my number one expectation is to be on time to Zooms. For the in-class students, try to be on time in class. So that is before the bell rings at 7:55 a.m. After the bell rings at 7:55 a.m. and the online students are there at 8 a.m. on time, the next thing that I'm looking for before I accept any students into the classroom is that they are sitting down in a desk, wearing their school uniform, and they're in a quiet place. I do understand that some students have a sibling and they're doing the work in the same place, But if you could maybe get headphones for those students that are working in the same place, that would be extremely helpful, because when they come off mute to talk to me about things, I can hear their other teacher teaching live or the videos that they're listening to. So even if they're at home, if you don't mind, some of them, can you please get them some headphones so that they're not listening to two different teachers teach at once? I mean, that's got to be confusing for the child as well. So properly ready for class is my second expectation that I have for your child. I will not let them in the classroom if their name on Zoom is something funny. I will not let them in the classroom if they do not look like they're well prepared for class. If they're laying in bed with a blanket and the curtains are closed back behind them like they just woke up, I'm going to have them, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to put you in the waiting room and you need to go get ready for school. Go to somewhere quiet and go to your workspace, and then I'll let you back in. It sounds harsh, but if one student is laying down in bed sleeping, it's not fair for the other students who have to sit up in class, virtual, and for the online students. I bet they wish that they could be at home laying in bed too. So we need everyone to be able to follow that expectation strictly, please. My third expectation is that I have for your student is that they are completing their work on time. So what we're doing is I'm teaching direct instruction through Zoom, and then I'm sending them off to go do an assignment. Some of them, when they get off Zoom with me, they think it's just a break and they're going to get a snack real quick, or they're going to play a couple of video games before they have to get back on. And then I get back on, I'm like, I noticed that you didn't do any of the assignments that I just assigned you. What's going on? And they're like, oh, well, I was going to do it later. It's like, if they're in the classroom, they would have to do it then. They don't have access to a video game. And so during the school hours, if you can please just make sure that your child they should be doing instruction. I'm going to instruct them and they're going to be doing the work. So whether if we do a whole group lesson, or I come on real quick and I show them what they need to be doing on Schoology, and then they get off, they should be working throughout the school day. The only times that they should not be on Zoom or working, they have pullouts from 10 to 11, and during those times they have courses in Schoology where they follow that teacher's instructions, and I told them if there's nothing under that course, or if that course is not even in their Schoology, that they need to do something related to that. So on Monday it's art, and then it's music, PE, computer lab, and library. So whatever is related to that is what they need to be doing during that time. Then from 12 to 1 is lunch. So they can eat lunch during that time, but I do not want any snacking or eating lunch like in the video while I'm teaching the rest of the class. So be on time, be ready for school, and make sure that your child is doing the assignments throughout the day. This is not talking about homework. There are assignments that they must be doing, and they need to be ready, listening for the instruction, and doing those independent assignments as if they were if they were in the classroom. That's how it would be. Lastly, I'm going to talk to you about the schedule and how things work, and I kind of covered that in the expectations because it's just hard not to talk about it. But every single day at 8 o'clock is when I need the students to be online on Zoom, and we're going to be doing literacy from 8 until 10. And so I'm not keeping them on Zoom from 8 to 10. Normally I'm keeping them on. We do a morning meeting, we do some calendar math, and then we jump right into literacy. From that, we will I'll either send them off to go do, I'll go send them off to do an independent assignment, or they will be broken up into groups eventually on Zoom when they're doing their small groups, or if they're doing any kind of intervention groups as well. So but the 8 to 10 is a literacy block, and they'll be getting that direct instruction, and then they'll also be doing independent work, which will always be assigned through Schoology. So one way that I can ensure that students are understanding and getting the material that they need is I'm recording the Zoom videos, and I'm also saving all of the notes that we take together as a class, and I'm uploading it to Schoology as soon as we get off of Zoom or as soon as we get done taking notes. That way, when students, like, if they don't get finished writing that vocabulary word and I move on to the next one, they have it to look back on in the class or in the course on the day that we took those notes. And they'll be there until the end of the school year. So that brings me to a child who, if he was not there that day, he or she's not there that day, then they can go back and they can watch the direct instruction. They can hear all the conversations that's happening, just like if they were during the Zoom. And then I even explain the assignment. I show them where it is all on Zoom, so then they can just go do the assignment as if they were there that day, but it's just a day late. So if your child misses any days, they definitely need to get on Schoology and look at the days in those courses to see what they're missing. Which brings me to the missing work. I have a section of homework on there and a section of missing work. So homework, I type out what their homework is. So you, with your parent code, you can go on there and you can look at the homework for that. So when your child comes home and says, "Nope, I don't have any homework. I'm done for today," and then I email you and I'm like, "Did blah blah blah? Did they do their homework last night?" And well, he didn't tell me he had any homework. So now you can go check with your parent code if your child has homework or not, if they're unsure. The students can also go check as well. So if they forget what page it is, then they can go check. A lot of the assignments are virtual, and so and it will be on Schoology assigned that day. So for an example, if we have math homework on Tuesday, you'll go into courses, math, and they'll say Tuesday, and then the date, they'll go in. And then they'll say today's homework, and they click on it, and it's something virtual for that course. Then, but there's also a list in the homeroom course of all of the things for that whole week of what all the homework was. So it's kind of like an agenda, but I'm writing everything down for everyone. There's also a missing work assignment section in the homeroom, and in that section, it has their name and it has everything that they haven't turned in that's going to be for a grade. So if it's a 0 in the grade book, it's on there until I receive it and until I grade it. So from 8 to 10 is literacy, and then from 10 to 11 is pull out, and then from 11 to 12 is math, and then from 12 to 1 is literacy, and then from 1 to 2 is science and social studies some days, and then also some intervention time. So we were told yesterday in a meeting that we have to build in an intervention time and small groups. So I'll probably be doing that at the end of the day. At 2 o'clock is usually when I wrap up an afternoon meeting, and I remind them about the things that they need to do in the afternoon, and what they have to do for homework, and what time they need to be on Zoom the next morning, which it never changes. It's at 8 o'clock now from now on every single day. And we kind of just talk, and I try to build rapport throughout the day. I mean, it's extremely hard to build rapport with students over Zoom, but I get them laughing, and I joke with them. I'm not always hardcore and strict, unless it comes to the expectations that they are not following, and then that's whenever I have to put my foot down, and they know it and they've seen it, and but I think that it's definitely going to be a great year. I have a great class. I mean, I cannot express to you, for my first year, I haven't had, knock on wood, any behavioral issues at this point. They understand me when I come to them and say, "Hey, please don't do that in the chat. I'm teaching," or "Can you not comb your hair during the Zoom meeting?" And I mean, it's only been a few things, and then we move on, and it's great. I have a whole class full of respectful students. They say yes ma'am, no ma'am. They say thank you. They greet me in the morning. They say have a good lunch before. I mean, it's overly whelmingly so sweet, and I can't thank that enough for raising your child to be so respectful to their teachers, because at this time excuse me, in the school year, that is definitely going to go a long way during the school year. So now that I've told you a little bit about myself and the expectations I have for your child in my classroom, and also how things are kind of going to be working for a little while until things can calm down, I'm going to express to you one more time that if you have any questions, you have a concern for your child, you're not understanding something, your child is going to be out that day, please message me. I have 3 computers open. I can see when your email pops up, or I have my phone sitting right there open to Class Dojo, so when you send me a message, I can see it. So even if it's in the middle of the day and it's like, oh, I can't get my child logged in to Zoom, give me a call, okay? Say, hey, I can't get my child on Zoom, or message me and say, something's not working at my house. I'll try to get her on as soon as possible. So just let me know. Communication is 100% key during this time. The only way that I can communicate with you is over all the technology that I've sent out to you. So remember, phone, email, Class Dojo. I can't come knocking on your house right now. I wouldn't do that anyway. I'm kidding. But just know that I am an open book, okay? Come knock on my email, my phone, okay? My Class Dojo, and I'll be willing to help you as much as possible. I'll be able to try to answer all of your questions as long as I know the answers to them. And you know, if I don't, then I'm 100% going to find them. I hope that you truly enjoy the way that we're going to be doing things this year in 5th grade, and I'm super excited to get your students ready for middle school. I think that this is a huge time in their life to be to get them transitioned to become middle schoolers, and it's definitely scary the way that we're having to do it this year, but I think the way of us teaching live and having those daily discussions and getting that direct instruction live is the best way to go about it. So if you have any questions about anything that I've said in this video, or if you'd like to have a Zoom meeting, that's okay with me too. I think that in the next couple of weeks I'm going to try to set up a whole group class parent Zoom meeting so that we can kind of all meet each other through Zoom and just kind of have a talk and conversation about, okay, what's going on, or what are your concerns, how's it going, and just have a conversation. I think that that's the one thing that we need to be doing this year, is just communicating. And so I'm going to try to set that up in the next couple of weeks. And as always, go Eagles!